Good morning, day after Christmas. Welcome to All Levels Yoga. My name is Michelle Chua. So in the past few weeks, we have been breaking down the 5 root causes of suffering, known in yoga philosophy as the kleshas. And we're highlighting the 5th one today. I thought this would be an interesting theme as we're nearing the end of the year to really get into what we may want to plant seeds of change for, or continuation for, or just new seeds altogether. Here's a quote by Deepak Chopra. In the absence of knowing the infinite source of energy and creativity, life's miseries come into being. Getting close to infinite source, or what some may call God, through true knowledge, heals the fear of death, confirms the existence of the soul, and gives ultimate meaning to life. Deepak Chopra captures the essence of the kleshas, including the final klesha, abhinivesha, or fear of death. The fact that we can work to ally our fear of death by practicing yoga postures might at first seem far-fetched. And what exactly is our fear of death anyway? This morning, my dog disturbed a particularly vengeful hive of hornets. My dog, my wife, and I ran like the dickens. Is that fear of death? I believe our fear is so all-pervasive that we have difficulty even seeing it. On the mat, it manifests as our grasping desire for more, better, faster yoga postures. It manifests in our restlessness, our difficulty in shavasana. It is the prevailing sense that we are not doing enough and that we won't get there wherever there is. My own fear of death is so general that only in its absence do I even become aware of it. I catch a glimpse of such peace when I can allow my body and my postures to be imperfect, when I can simply let things be as they are. In class, I remind students that swimmers who fight against the water tire and drown. Those who relax into it float. It is like that with us and infinite source. On our mats, we learn to float. Please find a comfortable seat. Notice any way your body is moving, perhaps so subtly or moving intentionally to explore groundedness and space. You might close your eyes and feel your body from the inside out. Become more attentive to the subtle movement of your breath. To subtleties within your mind or non-subtleties. Establishing space for awareness through this practice today. Let's join our hands together at the heart. This gesture of union as we come together here to share practice of uniting within ourselves, our inner and outer worlds. So through sound, let's set our intentions out there with one Om. Take a deep inhale. Now I invite you to place your hands on your stomach, and if it's feasible for you, to just breathe through your nose, so mouth closed. allowing deeper breaths to fill up your belly and then fill up your rib cage. You might even slide your hands to feel the side walls of your ribs expand, letting your chest rise too, and then emptying your breath through your nose. Paying more attention to deeply filling up with each inhalation and completely emptying the breaths. You might start to hear a softly audible whisper as you're breathing through your nose. We're going to make the breath more rhythmic, still paying attention to filling up the lungs and belly using your diaphragm. And for those of you that like to practice a kriya or action, to go with this particular breath technique called Bhastrika Pranayama, we begin with the elbows bent out to your sides and hands like fists. And as you take a deep breath, you raise your arms straight up while relaxing your shoulders and spread your fingers wide. And as you exhale, you rebend your elbows and refist your hands. And it goes like this. So as you can, or as you choose, I'm gonna set the timer for 1 minute of practicing this lung enlivening breath practice. Ready? 1 minute, begin. And relax. Still breathing through your nose if you can, but just naturally for a moment, observing the effects of that pranayama. Deepening your breath, still through your nose. Continue to create a soft whisper by gently narrowing the back of your throat, using Ujjayi Pranayama or victorious breathing to continue to relax your nervous system, warm your body, and help steady the focus of your mind on that sound. Deep breaths in and equal exhalations through your nose. Attending to that sound of your breathing, softly open your eyes if they're closed. Grab a strap and just place it off to the side as we come to lie down on our backs. Setting your 2 feet on the floor. Then bend your right knee into your chest. Move your right thigh out towards your right outer ribs. And with your left hand pressing down onto the top of your left thigh to keep the back of your left hip on the floor, begin to straighten your left leg onto the ground, flexing your left foot as you point your left knee straight up. Now here's where you might use the strap as an extension of your right arm if it's hard to reach. Stepping the ball of your right foot either into the loop of the strap or the center of the strap if you're not able to catch hold of your outer right ankle or foot, while splaying your right thigh open and lifting the sole of your right foot towards the sky. So it's like happy baby pose with just your right leg. Now feel your 2 shoulders rooting into the ground, relaxed away from your neck. Feel the length through all the sides of your neck, natural open space between chin and chest. Feel your inhalation expand into your belly and softly into the tops of your lungs. Feel your exhalation smooth, like the sound of the ocean, calm. Taking about 3 more breaths here. See if you might be able to draw your right thigh a little closer to the earth, just outside of your right ribs, while keeping the sole of your right foot facing the sky. Now rebend your left knee, set your left foot on the ground, and as you flex your right foot, turn out your right thigh at the hip and cross your right ankle on top of your left thigh, creating a figure 4 shape. Now begin by placing your right hand on the very top of your inner right thigh, close to your hip crease. And as you gently encourage your right thigh bone to turn out, continue to ground both sides of your hips evenly. Now perhaps this is plenty, or this is where you prefer to stay, opening up into your hip flexors. Or you might explore threading your right hand into the triangular space between your thighs, and with 2 hands catching hold of either your left thigh or your left shin. Whereas you keep your head and shoulders grounded, you slowly bring your left leg closer to your chest. Breathe in. Breathe out, still softly nudging your right inner thigh open with your right arm. Let's take one more deep breath here. So keep this figure 4 shape of your legs. Release your arms out to the side so they're out of the way for a moment, and step your left foot towards the left edge of your mat. Then drop your left thigh to splay open onto the ground so that the sole of your right foot lands standing upright. Your right shin is vertical. As you ground your right shoulder, perhaps even turning your gaze past it, you might continue the spiraling action throughout your neck. If your lower back is seeking more sensation, more space, place your left palm on the very top inner side of your right thigh again, that same spot near your hip crease, and softly press away your inner right thigh, away from your belly and towards your left foot. Feel your breath in. Match your breath out. Entire sole of your right foot is grounded. Now you might even visualize breathing into your lower back as though it were a lung, especially any areas you might feel heightened sensation right now. With the exhalation, softening the muscles across your lower back. For one more breath. Now slowly unravel onto your back. Bring your pelvis towards the midline of your mat. Set your 2 feet on the ground and just pause here for a breath. A more neutral position. Then bend your left knee towards your chest. Take it over towards the outside of your left rib cage, left side of your rib cage. And then with your right palm pressing down onto the top of your right thigh, just below the hip bone, slide your right leg straight forward onto the ground, flexing the foot. Keep your right knee facing up. Now, as we take half happy baby pose with your left leg splaying open, you might want to step the ball of your left foot into the strap, raising the sole of your left foot to face the sky. Draw your left knee to the outside of your left shoulder and down. Feel that the back of both hips, left and right, are grounded, just like your two shoulders are. Breathing in, breathing out. I thought it was interesting in that reading from Meditations from the Mat, how fear of death was perceived also as this need to keep doing, this feeling of not doing enough, sort of restlessness. Because I can definitely relate to that. And how interesting that yoga postures can help us in finding some sense of peace with stillness, a feeling of contentment, a feeling of being enough. And as we let go of the idea of perfection or the need to strive for perfection. So from here, flexing your left foot, bending your right knee, set your right foot on the ground, turn out your left thigh at the hip, and cross your left ankle on top of your right thigh like a figure 4 shape. Now, placing your left palm on the inner top side of your left thigh, just near your hip crease, softly splay open your left thigh while still grounding the back of your right hip. Is your body asking you to stay here longer in this variation? No variation better or worse, good or bad, just simply tuning in and listening to how your body's telling you what it needs. Or thread your left hand into the triangular space between your thighs, catching hold of your right thigh or right shin with 2 hands. And as you continue to ground your head and shoulders, slowly bringing your right thigh closer to your chest. Let's take a few more conscious breaths. Let's take one more breath here and thread the needle. Then keep the shape of your legs, this figure 4. Release your arms out to the sides and out of the way, and then set your right foot down towards the right edge of your mat. Then start to splay open your right thigh while keeping the figure 4 shape so that the sole of your left foot lands completely on the ground, standing your left shin upright. As you ground your left shoulder, maybe turn your head towards it, adding a twist in your cervical spine. If your lower back is seeking even more tractioning, you could place your right palm again into that top inner side of your left thigh and gently press it open away from your belly as the sole of your left foot remains grounded. Ease your breath in. And feel your body slowly let your breath go. As though everything you're doing in this moment, is all there needs to be done right now. There's no rush to get to a finish line. Notice how your body is responding to any slight sensation as we take a couple more deep breaths. Then, as you're ready, unravel your legs, Lower your pelvis again towards the midline of your mat. Set your 2 feet on the ground in that more neutral position and take a deep breath, just observing. Draw your bent knees towards your chest, hugging them in as you ground your tailbone and your shoulders and head. Softening your shoulder blades down your back slightly, tuck your chin towards your chest and feel the ground as much as you can with the back of your spine. Each exhalation, see if you might be able to hug your thighs a little closer to your belly while keeping your pelvis on the floor. Just 3 more breaths here. You might imagine breathing from the base of your spine, your tailbone up, creating more space between each vertebra to your neck. Then exhaling back down the ladder of each vertebra. As your hands take hold of your bent knees, breathe in and circle your thighs apart. Breathe out and circle your thighs together. And just like that, entering a mini breath-led vinyasa flow. Now allow the movements to become more organic. Perhaps you switch directions or create figure eights, just exploring movement at your hip sockets. Now, whether you turn over to one side or rock yourself forward and back a few times, eventually lift your torso upright. And let's come onto all fours, hands and knees, continuing breath-led movement in cat-cow. As you inhale, gliding your spine forward, coil your chest up, looking towards the sun. As you exhale, contract your belly, tuck your tailbone, drop your skull to round into cat. Several more. Inhale, lengthen your spine, then broaden your chest up, letting your shoulders drop behind you. Exhale, firm your belly in. Perhaps add tucking your toes for an even deeper sensation to stretch your back. Take about 3 to 5 more cycles of breath. And if you want to add movements that are more spontaneous and organic, feel free. You always have that option. Now on your next breath out, relax into a neutral spine, stacking your shoulders directly above your wrists. See that the creases of your wrists parallel the front edge of your mat as you spread your thumbs and index fingers flat on the ground. Set your knees directly under your hips, broaden your chest, slide your shoulder blades down your back as you lengthen your neck by gazing on the floor ahead of your hands. Deep breaths. Lift the sides of your waist, engaging your belly. Then tuck your right toes on your mat and straighten your right leg behind you, pressing your right heel back. Add a little movement of rocking your torso forward while keeping your belly lifted and gently rocking your torso back. Very soft movements as we ease into opening your right calf. Imagine your tailbone here, lengthening towards your inner right heel. And then perhaps hold still in this calf stretch, pressing your right heel further back. Or if your calf is needing a little more sensation, picking up the top of your left foot and placing its weight onto your right Achilles tendon. Nudging your right heel towards your rear wall as you lengthen your sternum, middle of your chest towards your front wall. Keeping your shoulders over your wrists. Let's take 3 more breaths. Then set your 2 knees on the ground. And inhale into cow again. Coil your chest up, release your shoulder blades down your back. Exhale into a neutral spine, pressing down through your hands and gazing forward on the floor. Keep lifting the sides of your waist as you straighten your left leg and tuck your toes on the ground. Actively pressing your left heel back. Perhaps begin to softly rock your torso forward, keeping the length of your spine, and back a few times. Still listening to the even waves of your breath. And then maybe exploring holding still as your shoulders stack above your wrists, or adding a little more weight into your calf stretch by picking up the top of your right foot and placing it onto your left Achilles tendon, drawing your left heel further back towards your rear wall as your sternum lengthens forward towards your front wall. Let's take 3 more breaths in whatever variation you chose. And when you're ready, let's sink into child's pose with your feet touching, knees together, oars wide apart as it allows your pelvis to comfortably drop down to your feet, resting your forehead on the ground. But actively stretch your arms forward here so we're feeling an active lengthening of the torso, especially into your lower back. As your hands are seeking the front edge of your mat, your wrists remain shoulders width or slightly wider apart. Bring your attention to your shoulders. Can you broaden across the tops of your shoulders by simply rotating your triceps or outer upper arms slightly towards the ground, causing the inner creases of your elbows to spin slightly to face each other. And at the same time, slide your shoulder blades more stably onto your back ribs away from your neck. Feel that activity in your arms, how your elbows are lifted off the floor. Now keep that. Separate your feet hips distance or wider. Keep your hands and your toes where they are as you tuck your toes and bend your knees a lot to lift your hips high. Draw your weight back into downward facing dog. And the first few breaths you might explore pedaling your feet, a little more warming up into the backs of your legs. Maybe even swiveling your hips like you're doing the twist side to side, loosening up your lower back and the sides of your torso. Or exploring movement of your skull at your neck, freeing space in your cervical spine. Continue to rotate your triceps towards the ground and lift your shoulder blades onto your back ribs. Feel as though your hands were trying to push away your mat from your feet. And then find the highest lift of your hips, perhaps even bending your knees to achieve that as you draw your weight down the backs of your legs through your heels. Whether or not your heels touch the floor, then steady your eyes onto the ground towards your feet, completely relaxing your neck as we hold the body still for 3 more breaths in Adho Mukha Svanasana. Keep wrapping your triceps towards the ground and firming your belly inward. As you inhale to glide forward into the top of a push-up plank pose, shoulders stacking right above wrists, legs straight or knees on the ground. Pause and breathe here and feel the lift of your side waist, drawing your chest forward as your gaze is on the floor ahead of your hands. And as you exhale, glide even more forward as far as you can, tips of the toes on the ground. Then bend your elbows back so your arms graze your side ribs, lowering your belly all the way to the floor. Point your toes actively behind you to actively lengthen your tailbone towards your inner heels, and feel the heels of your palms alongside your floating ribs. Elbows hugging close to your sides, firm down to your pubic bone and the tops of your feet, knees not touching the floor. And as you coil your chest up, melt your shoulder blades further down your back for a few more breaths here in Bhujangasana. Cobra pose. So by gazing on the floor just naturally ahead of you, feel that there's no added tension in your neck or face. Take one more deep inhalation, blossoming your chest forward. Tap your toes, press down through hands and feet or hands and knees, and lifting your hips back, re-enter downward facing dog. Walk your hands back towards your feet, folding over your legs at the rear of your mat. Bend your knees as much as you need to actually feel your belly touch your thighs. Then shift your weight forward towards the balls of your feet, a little more than your heels, and then just let your arms hang or catch opposite elbows. Softly move your skull and let your neck completely relax, while lifting your shoulder bones up, freeing space in your neck. Belly on your thighs, completely supported. Reach your hands behind you, interlacing your fingers or holding a strap between your hands. Keep your legs active, your knees bent, belly active. And as you breathe in, lengthen your spine parallel to the ground, look ahead of you, and bend your elbows closer together to open your chest. As you breathe out, straighten just your right leg, bending your left knee a lot more. Lean towards your outer right calf, stretching your arms forward. Take a couple of breaths. Relax your jaw. Let your shoulders float up away from your ears. Weight shifting towards your toes. Now rebend both knees evenly a lot. Interlace the opposite thumb and index finger on top, belly resting on thighs. On your next inhale, extend your torso forward. Look towards the tip of your nose. Then exhale, bend your right knee a lot and straighten your left leg to fold towards the outside of it. Keep leaning your weight forward, dropping your skull. Feel the freedom in your neck. Elbows slightly bent to help you lift your shoulder heads. And now with both knees bent again, belly resting on thighs, drop your chin towards your chest. Hollow your belly as you firm down through your feet and slowly begin to roll up on a deep inhalation, stacking each vertebra and eventually lifting your head last. And when your crown rises, rotate your shoulders behind you. Take a deep sigh as you release your shoulders back and down. Equal standing pose, Samastitihi, or mountain pose. So starting with arms by your sides, palms facing forward, spread your weight through the four corners of each foot. Feel your kneecaps slightly lift, your heart center lift as your shoulders and tailbone descend. Inhale, sweep the space around you, raise your arms up, palms meet. Bend your knees at least slightly and hinge slowly from your hips as you exhale. Press your fingertips on your shins or the ground if you can reach, and lengthen your chest forward as you inhale. Crawl your hands forward into your version of plank pose. As you exhale, pause there. We're going to take 3 breaths. Inhale in your plank, shoulders over wrists, broaden your chest forward. Exhale, 3. Inhale, lift your navel towards your back. Exhale, 2. Inhale, get long from tailbone to crown and maybe even to heels. Exhale, shift forward, bend your elbows close to your side ribs and very slowly come all the way down. For 1 in-breath in Cobra, ground the tops of your feet and inhale, relax your shoulders. Press the floor away and exhale, contract your abdomen to help lift your hips back. In downward dog, steady your eyes in one spot. Let your body be still for about 3 deep breaths. Bend your knees, lift your heels and hips high, look beyond your fingertips. At the end of your out breath, hold it out and walk or float to the top of your mat. Forward fold, inhale, press your fingertips on the floor, blocks of your legs, lift the chest. Exhale, fold in, down to your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms and rise, gazing as your palms meet. Exhale, trace your thumbs down your center line. A full Surya Namaskar A or Sun Salutation A. Inhale, sweep your arms up in Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bow forward in Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen halfway in Ardha Uttanasana. Step back to plank or lightly float to Chaturanga Dandasana as you lower, choosing cobra or upward facing dog as you breathe in. Exhale to downward dog. Let your body be still as you refocus on your breath. Downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your right leg behind you. As you exhale, turn open your right thigh at the hip. Flex your right foot. As you inhale, cross your right ankle and press it against the top of your left thigh or just above the knee, figure four shape. And take another breath in as you lift your sitting bones up and back, firming your belly towards your spine. Exhaling, softly land right foot outside of your right hand, entering lizard lunge. With hands on the floor or on blocks, lower your back knee. Keep your left toes tucked though, and inhale, blossom your chest open, right knee is bent just over the heel. Exhale, lift your back knee and begin to straighten your right leg. So blocks might be useful or some platform in which your hands are on. Scissor your right hip back. Inhale, lower your back knee again, return to a kneeling lunge. Exhale, plug your right thigh bone back to straighten the leg some degree while you bow inside of it. Let's take another 2 cycles. Inhale, lower your back knee, lizard lunge. Exhale, scissor your right hip back, straighten and fold, pyramid pose. Inhale, lizard lunge. Exhale, pyramid pose. Now, re-bend right knee, but scoot your right foot to the front and center of your mat. Spin your back heel down and turn the toes slightly to face the front, aligning right heel to arch of left foot. Take a block, or maybe even 2 blocks stacked, and place them right outside your right calf. Bring your right fingertips onto that block. Now as you roll your right glute down underneath your body, allow your right thigh bone to turn out so that the center of your right kneecap points in line with your center right toe, straight forward down the center of your mat. Now as your right hand is on that block, outside of your right leg, directly under your right shoulder, press your right leg and right arm against each other. So there's no visible movement, but you add a sense of stability, firming your right glute in. Belly in, raise your left arm towards the sky, entering side angle pose. Parsvakonasana. Now feel the outer edge of your left foot root into the ground. Left leg is straight. Carry your inward gaze up your left leg, a straight line of energy up your spine, up your left arm as you now reach your left arm towards your front wall diagonally. Rotating your left tricep towards your left wall and slightly towards the ground. Relax your shoulders down your back, broaden your chest, and see if you might be able to spin it slightly to face the sky. Perhaps you're gazing up from underneath your left arm. Let's take another 3 to 5 breaths here, feeling stability. Finding length and observing stillness. Put all your weight into your feet and slowly rise up into Warrior Two. With spine vertical, upright, slightly lift your frontal hip bones. Steady your gaze forward just past your right fingertips. And take a mental scan from head to toe, noticing how you're balancing your energy of efforting with relaxing. Virabhadrasana 2, last 2 breaths. Flip your right palm to face the sky, sweep your arm back towards your rear wall. Inhale an exalted or peaceful warrior. Exhale your 2 hands to frame your right leg, put your blocks aside, and step into plank to flow through your vinyasa, or lower to hands and knees to take a few cat-cows, your choice. Let's meet in downward facing dog. Trace the beginning of your breath to the end. Now, as you firm down through fingers spread, inhale, raise your left leg. Exhaling, bend your left knee and externally rotate your left thigh at the hip. Flex your left foot and inhale, cross your left ankle like a figure 4 over your right thigh. Keep breathing here, lift your sitting bones. Take another deep breath and draw your sitting bones back. Firm your belly in. With an exhale, softly step your left foot forward outside of your left hand. Lizard lunge. Set your right knee down, but tuck the toes. Now notice if, as we enter breath-led movement, your hands prefer to be on a platform like blocks or on the floor. Take a deep breath here and broaden your chest forward. Exhale, lift your right knee, plug your left thigh bone back towards straightening the leg, and bow inside of it. Inhale, lower your right knee, come back to lizard lunge. Exhale, scissor your left hip back towards straightening your left leg as you bow inside of it. 3 more cycles of breath. Inhale, lizard lunge. Exhale, lift the knee, pyramid pose. Inhale, lizard lunge. Exhale, pyramid pose. Inhale, lizard lunge. Exhale, pyramid pose. Then bending your left knee, keep your back knee lifted. Set your left foot front and center of your mat. Spin your right heel down and point your right toe slightly forward. Align your left heel to intersect the arch of your right foot. Grab your block or stack your 2 blocks just outside of your left calf. Placing your left fingertips on the blocks, right under your left shoulder. Rotate your left outer hip underneath your body, completely turning out your left thigh at the hip to align the center of your left kneecap with your center left toe down the midline of your mat. Raising your right arm up into Parshvakonasana, side angle pose. Now press into the ground firmly with the outside edge of your right foot as you straighten your right leg. Bend your front knee just over the ankle. Draw your tailbone actively towards your inner right heel. Then rotate your right tricep slightly to face your right wall. Reach your right arm overhead towards your front wall as your tricep rotates downward. Broaden your chest, deep breath. And slide your shoulder blades down your back ribs. Feel your left arm and left leg firming against each other for added stability as you spiral your chest slightly to face the sky, perhaps even looking up past your right elbow. Let's take another 3 to 5 deep breaths in this grounding, lower back lengthening, hip opening posture. Put all your weight onto your feet, firm your belly in, and inhale, slowly rise up with arms wide open in Virabhadrasana 2. Spine upright as you orient your pelvis upright. Slightly lifting your frontal hip bones as you broaden your chest and reach out through both arms. Relax the tops of your shoulders down and steady your eyes just past your left hand. Last 2 breaths in Warrior 2. Flip your left palm to face up. Lift and sweep it overhead to lean towards your rear wall and the lateral spinal extension. Take a deep breath in, exalted or peaceful warrior. Exhale your hands to the ground. Choose if you want to flow into your own version of vinyasa or cat-cow. Take rest, or meet a straight and downward dog. Body still, attention recentering. Please set your knees onto the ground and take your 2 blocks. We're going to make a train out of your 2 blocks under second level or medium height, crossing your mat in front of your knees, about a foot away from your knees. Then extend your arms forward, elbows exactly shoulders width apart. Rotate your triceps further towards the ground and flip your palms to face up. Then bending your elbows, press your fingertips into each other so it's hollow between your palms, and set your elbows onto the center of the blocks, exactly shoulders width apart. Walk your knees back slightly behind your hips as you trace your thumbs down the back of your skull towards the back of your neck, lowering your head onto your side of the blocks. Allow your chest to sink as your armpits hollow and rise. Sliding your shoulders down your back, firm your belly into your back. Feel your sitting bones reach behind you, taking another 3 to 5 breaths as we open up the shoulders here. If your elbows start to splay apart, wider than shoulders distance, make sure to rise up and readjust, as that can become counterproductive. Fill up your belly, fill up your lungs, and cleanse with a breath out. One more breath here. Contract your belly and slowly rise up. Now we're going to give the wrists a stretch. So put your weight on your legs for a moment and make fists out of your hands, leaning your fists against each other while leaning the backs of your fists onto the ground. Flare your elbows bent apart off the floor and start to shift your weight slowly forward to find just the right amount of weight you'd like to stretch your outer wrists and forearms with. And then once there, take a few deep breaths, relaxing your neck, shoulders, jaw, face. Take another deep breath here. And let it go. Shake out your hands, shake out your wrists, and have a seat at the center of your mat. Take 1 block, hug the skinniest width in between your thighs. Parallel your feet and ground the four corners of each. Extend your arms forward with palms face up. Draw your shoulder heads back, then down. And with a tall spine, belly firm, slowly lower onto your back, taking a few deep breaths. Keep firming your thighs into the block. Feel your outer hips firm towards your midline. Now, when your head does meet the floor, taking your time, land your arms on the ground right by your sides. To locate your feet, slide your feet back until you could almost touch your heels with your fingertips, but not that close, just almost. Parallel your feet as wide apart as your thighs, thighs firming into the block. We're gonna start in bridge pose. So as you press your shoulders down, tilt your chin slightly away from your chest and breathe in to lift your pelvis off the floor. Taking 5 to 10 breaths in this pose before you choose to lower. As you lift your hips, activate your hamstrings and slightly your glutes by keeping your feet still, but bringing the energy into your legs as if you were dragging your heels back to touch your glutes. Now at the same time, lengthen your tailbone forward and slightly spin your inner thighs towards the ground. Walk your upper arms closer together underneath your back ribs. Maybe you clasp your hands, as long as you can keep your arms straight and don't have to flare your elbows apart, because that can begin to round your shoulders instead of opening them. Keep your throat open. Use this posture to help deepen your breaths, to fully expand your lungs, opening your heart space. Setu Bandha Sarvangasana, bridge pose. We've got another back bend after this, so when you're ready to come down to rest for a few breaths, release your hands, and with an exhalation, slowly lower your spine. Keep the block between your thighs, and just relax in a more neutral position. All right. For this last round of our active back bend, either do the same posture on your own, 5 to 10 breaths, or we're gonna explore the stages of moving into upward bow. So Urdhva Dhanurasana. Legs are set up the same way, heels where you could almost touch them. But for upward bow, extend your arms up, rotate your triceps forward, then flex your wrists, plant your palms face down alongside your ears, with your fingertips slightly turned out. Elbows stay shoulders width apart. Imagine you're squeezing a block between them. You want to keep your arms parallel just like your legs are. Then you start like bridge, lifting your hips, activate hamstrings and softly your glutes. Then with your hands pressing the floor, you might explore bringing the crown of your head to the ground, as long as you feel no compression in your lower back. If you start to, just back off to the stage before it. If you're okay going further with head on the floor, push the floor away with your hands and feet. Keep hugging the block as that helps you to traction your lower spine to move safely. Draw your shoulder blades down your back away from your neck. Let your head just fall freely. Shoulders away from the neck. 5 to 10 breaths all together. Urdhva Dhanurasana, upward facing bow. When you decide to come down, reverse the stages of crown of the head to the floor, then tuck your chin towards your chest, then slowly lower one vertebra at a time. And finally, remove the block once you've come down to rest at your pace. Separate your feet wider than hips distance. Separate your knees just as wide apart as your feet. Arms out to the sides, out of the way. Slowly drop your knees both to the right, then slowly drop them both to the left. Try that a few times before we hold still. Then do drop both knees to the right. Point your left knee down the center line of your mat. Stay here or add crossing right ankle over left thigh. Possibly add holding opposite elbows overhead, relaxing your shoulders down your back. Take a deep belly breath in, fill up to the tops of your lungs too. Open your mouth, let it go, and gently lift your knees and return to center. Relax your arms. Feet apart, knees apart, both wider than hips distance. Then drop both knees to your left side. Point your right knee down the center line of your mat. Either stay here or add crossing left ankle over your right thigh. Perhaps also switching the cross of elbow as you hold them overhead. One more deep belly breath in, then fill up to the tops of your lungs. Sip in a little more if you can. Then open your mouth, clear it out. Uncross your legs and cross your arms. All right, set your feet on the ground. Bend your elbows apart like a cactus shape. We're gonna take eagle pose lying down. So cross your left elbow over your right elbow and either hook your thumbs or wrap your forearms and palms, splaying your shoulder blades apart. Draw them down your back ribs. Lift your elbows to align with your shoulders and gently press your forearms towards the sky. Breathe into the area between your shoulder blades. Now with your legs, you could opt for a gentler version here of opening the lower back by splaying the feet a little wider than hips distance on the floor and dropping your knees together to touch. Keep your legs like that on both sides of your arms. Otherwise, eagle, right leg wraps over left leg as much as you can. You could even tuck your right toes behind your left calf and lift your feet off the floor, aligning your knees and elbows to trace your midline. Couple more breaths. Keep your pelvis on the ground. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, set your feet apart on the ground and uncross your arms. Cactus bend your elbows apart again. Then cross your right elbow over the left. Hook your thumbs or wrap your forearms and palms. Soften your shoulders away from your neck and align your elbows with your shoulders. Lifting your forearms away from your face, breathe into the space between your shoulder blades. Now either drop your knees together, feet apart on the floor, or crisscross left leg over right leg as much as you can. Maybe tucking left toes behind right calf, maybe lifting the feet off the floor, but keeping shoulders and pelvis grounded. Last two breaths. Supta Garudasana, supine eagle pose. Inhale and let it go. Uncross your arms. Either raise your legs for just a few breaths or maybe happy baby pose, any finishing cooling posture for just a few breaths before you land your body to completely rest. As you're setting up for Shavasana, bring intention into how you support your body to feel freedom to let go of effort. And thus support your mind to feel freedom to be present. take your option of staying in Shavasana longer, or if you have to go, I understand, or staying for 5 minutes of sitting silently in meditation. And if the latter, ease your body upright to a comfortable position in which you can be alert as well. Whether you close your eyes or steady a soft gaze on a candle or simple object in front of you, find your means of observing your mind with non-judgment. I'm going to set the timer here for 5 minutes. brings your attention back to your body and your physical surroundings. And joining your palms again to meet at your heart, bowing in. Allow a moment to just feel any effect of your practice today. Thank you for sharing your presence. Let's close with one Om. Take a deep breath. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.